All right, Brett, man, looks like you are in the RV, man. Why don't you introduce yourself to the Big Data, Big Questions audience? Most of them have probably seen us do some videos, especially when we, made our way through Engineering's machine learning course and a couple other things. But introduce yourself. Who are you, Brett Roberts?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Brett Roberts, as Thomas has mentioned a couple times, and I'm a member of the Big Data Beer team. I'm also a systems engineer at Dell, and I am a Splunk enthusiast. And I am going on a road trip for 14 days over in 13 different cities, where I'm going to be Splunking in RV and meeting with customers, partners, and users of Splunk along the way to hear their interesting stories of how they're using Splunk to really change the world. So Thomas, great to be on here, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'm excited. We had Brett, we had Cory on a couple episodes ago. So he was kind of telling me, how's your thought? Like, so how did this all kind of come in? Like who decides to getting in an RV and driving across country with 3 other people? I mean, yeah, you kind of work together, know each other, but man, that's a tough task, right?
Yeah, and it sounded like a good idea at the time, and it's still a great idea. We're really excited about it. But when you start to peel back the onion a little bit, you realize 3 engineers, and yeah, we're all really good friends, but 3 engineers, 14 days, almost 4,000 miles, 62 hours of drive time, and that's without traffic. Hopefully it's
it's going to be worse.
It's going to be a long event, but really at the end of the day, I've been working with Splunk and really using their technology for about 4 years now. And I've realized that it's a really cool platform for getting the most out of your machine data. And I'm very passionate about it. Splunk's user conference is in October. I have spoken at the conference for the last 3 years, and we always have a good time when we go there. And Cory, Kyle, and I always talk about Splunk's user conference really being our favorite week of the year. And this year it's a few weeks later than it normally is, and we didn't want to wait the extra time. So like all good ideas, this originated after a long day of work, having an adult beverage or 2. But we decided, why not start the show early? Why not do something Splunky to really just get everyone excited about the conference? And so we decided, why not rent an RV? Why not travel across country? And while we're at it, let's Splunk the RV. Let's do a little bit of everything. So that's how the idea originated.
Man, that's pretty cool. Hats off to you, gentlemen. That is a tough task. It's not something, I don't know that I could do that. I have quite a few pet peeves. So I was talking with Cory, and I want to go ahead and get this one out of here. So I've got Cory's answer. But what is your number one pet peeve that you're worried it's going to come up? Like, does people chewing with their mouth open, or noises? Like, what are you afraid of in this confined space it's going to be like, hey man, you know what, Cory, I just can't take when you do. What is that?
So I actually don't know if I have one exact pet peeve.
Multiple ones.
Yeah, I have 1,000 of them. Like, I'm really difficult. No, I think it's compounding 14 days of some of the little things. Like, we're all really close, and we spent a lot of time hanging out and together at conferences and traveling. But 14 days in a confined area, my biggest worry is that's just a lot. I honestly think that it's going to be great, and there's going to be times where we get after each other. I've already promised Cory and Kyle that they can yell at me twice for this idea, because it was my idea, twice a day. Anything more than that's just hateful. I don't really have a specific pet peeve. I think it's just making sure we all get a good amount of sleep and that we're not stepping on each other's toes.
That's pretty cool. So
what did Cory say?
I think I have to go back and look, but I think he was, he kind of gave I think his answer was Kyle's insistent playing of Justin Bieber, or it was either you. I don't remember who he threw shade on, saying Justin Bieber was going to be.
It was probably me. I mean, after that, I feel like my answer is way too political and way too nice. I think just Cory, period, is going to be my big
There we go. That's good stuff. So I know, so I promised the audience we're going to dig into some of the tech and look at some of the dashboard. But before we jump in, I want to dial back in a little bit. So you've been a part of the Splunk community. Do Do you have any certifications? And that's something, if you do, please talk about them a little bit to the audience, because that's one of the things that we talk a lot about here on Big Data Big Questions.
Yeah, so I'm a Splunk Systems Engineer 1 certified person. With that comes Splunk's user and Splunk's power user certifications. And then because I focused on Splunk for my job at Dell Technologies, I'm also Splunk Sales 1 and 2 trained as well. I'm right now working on finishing up my admin course. And honestly, the work that I've done over the last 45 days in getting everything ready for the road trip has really prepared me, I think, to get through that course fairly easily. But certifications are great. I think Splunk does a really, really good job of taking a platform that has some nuances to it that you really just need to know and giving you that information in a very clear and concise manner, and then giving you the certification to back that up. I know they've done some changing in their certification process as of late, where now you have to take your tests at a testing center or online through Pearson's. I just think that's going to make those certifications even more valuable and respectable in the industry. So huge fan of the Splunk certs, and I think they're gonna, if you are interested, I would definitely recommend it.
All right, perfect, man. Maybe we'll have you on the show some other time to really dive into those, because I think it'd be very useful for the audience. Yeah. But everybody's watching today because they want to see the awesome dashboard. I know you've been working hard at it, so we're excited to see. If you want to share your screen, tell me about some of the applications. So Cory, just so you know, so audience, just a little behind the scenes here. So they don't know what each other have said. So I've kind of stacked these interviews back to back, and they may have talked, but so just so you know, Brett, Cory just kind of dived in, give us a high level overview of some of the apps, talked about it a little bit. So we're excited to go as deep as you want to go and show us what you can. And the audience knows, hey, you guys are still in the planning phase, right? That is just an awesome looking background behind him. That's not real. He is not on the bus yet today, guys, folks. So
no, not yet. I think I'll be spending more than enough time in an RV as So I want to start, though, before I share the screen, just kind of giving the process of what we did. So when we started to think about what goes into a Splunked RV, we did two things. We wanted to look at descriptive analytics, so just telling what is going on, very time and point analytics, things like what's the current temperature, what's our average temperature, how fast are we going, where's our current location. Those are interesting, but what we wanted to do on top of that was start to correlate across other data sources to not just tell what happened, but give some why or some more diagnostic analytics and really show the true power of Splunk. So to start, we took some edge devices, we set those up, and we started adding different sensors to them just so we can get the data going. So things like temperature sensors, sound sensors, vibration sensors, a GPS locator, health sensors, and then some things with music and some other stuff. The first step to any of this is you have to create the data. You have to have the data or you have to have a log generated. And then we installed universal forwarders from Splunk on each of those edge devices to point to our Splunk instance, or our Splunk heavy forwarder in this case. And that collected all the data into our Splunk instance. And from there, we were able to start asking questions of that data. So with that being said, let's go ahead and look at really the interesting part. My face is interesting. I'm not interesting. It's the dashboards that are the interesting ones. So if you're looking at my screen here, this is and we actually have an app in Splunk. So it's the Roadtrip to Conf app, where this is a series or a collection of different dashboards that tell different stories. So the first one, we have our overview dashboard. And again, this is very point in time and very just descriptive. So how many days until Splunk's conference starts? And then right now it's how many days and hours and minutes until we hit the road. Once we actually hit the road on October 7th, this will change to how long have we been on our road trip and how long have we been driving each day. I want to take a quick pause though, and there's a lot of stuff that we were able to do in our dashboards that kind of stretch the boundaries of what you can do in Splunk. And Splunk gives you a lot of really cool ways of customizing your dashboards that they're just not out of the box. One of our good friends, Tom West, who works for Converging Data, spent a lot of time helping us with some of the more complex and advanced things. So things like even just changing the font and the colors so that it looks like Splunk's conference theme for this year. So we have our counters, and then we have where we've been so far. So as we start to actually generate data as we're moving, this panel here will allow us to show our specific route as we leave Boston and head to Vegas. We have our current location. You can see right now all the data is being generated at my house. So we have our current location. Please don't send me anything. And the weather.
Hey, if you want, if you want, I'm gonna make sure that I hide that.
It's actually it's actually not my exact address. I don't care. I don't know my neighbors.
Okay.
So if they get stuff, I don't really care.
Carry on. All money. We can set up a
yeah.
PayPal account, but any kind of spam or any kind of hate mail, please send it to those addresses.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have our speed. What's our current speed? Luckily, we're going 0 miles an hour. If we were going any more than that, I would be worried. What song it was last played, or what song are we listening to right now? And then the current temp. You can see it's a nice 72 degrees in my house.
Wow. Okay, just in your house. I was about to get a little jealous. So,
nope.
Behind the scenes, if you don't know where Taft Street is, where his fake address is. So, when Cory and I were doing this, it was the first day of fall, but we made a joke that we had to end our session because although it was the first day of fall, it was still really hot, and we have our little studios outside. We have to turn the air conditioner off when we're recording, and so we're very jealous of Brett's weather all the time, especially as we get towards the towards the latter part of the summer when it's actually really fall there.
So so you can see here current speed. Again, luckily we're not going anything more than 0 miles an hour, else I'd be worried. What we're currently listening to, or the song that we last played, and then our temperature internally. And the cool thing is, again, you can correlate that between our external temperature. So right now it's just over 61 degrees in Boston. In my house right now, it's about 72 degrees.
Wow.
And then you have our phone battery. Once Kyle and Cory get onto the local network, their batteries will show up as well. And then we have our list of our amazing partners that are sponsoring this road trip. Converging Data is helping us in dashboard development. And then Dell, Arrow, and Red River are sponsoring the trip and are helping us record some awesome podcasts.
Man, so let me dial back. I'm curious now. So on your phone, so I mean, so on the phone battery, is that just something that you've pulled out of the Splunk base that you use, or is that how is that set up? Is that something fairly simple?
Yeah, so it's actually a part of the post-health app in Splunk base. So one of the things we wanted to do, and one of the stories we wanted to tell, was how healthy are we being? And luckily, and this goes to a common theme that we'll talk about, a lot of this stuff, there's some great people in the Splunk community that have already contributed in the forms of add-ons and apps in Splunk base. And if you're not familiar with Splunk base is kind of like Splunk's app store. And it's where community members, Splunk, or partners can develop apps and then upload them. Some of them are paid for if they're developed by Splunk, but most of them, about 95% of them, are free apps. So this one is called Post Health, and it works with your Apple Health data, whether it's through your watch or through your phone, to collect things like heartbeat, steps, workouts, exercise. And they actually had one for battery because that actually generates some data as well. So we took that search and we're ingesting data from our phones for health, and we just put it here as well, because one of the things that we want to make sure we're cognizant of is that our phones are always fully charged.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's awesome. So I'm definitely going to be checking that app, and make sure that it's here, folks. If you're looking in the comment section, or if you can go over to bigdatabigquestions.com/ this specific blog post, and you'll see it in the show notes here. So I'll make sure that I get that posted here in the comment section. But that's pretty cool. So you can actually pull out the heart rate and some of the other things if you're doing like using an Apple Watch. So
yeah, and we'll show that panel and that dashboard in a minute or two, because we actually.
Oh wow, I'm getting ahead here. Sorry, folks.
Nope, you're good. So then the next thing we have is our journey, right? Every day we're going to be traveling from one city to another, and we have a fairly strict timeline. So we want to know how far we need to travel, what's the route, and and what's the estimated time. So right now you can see our total distance, according to Google Maps, is 1 mile shy of 3,900. Just makes it that much harder to say. 3,899 miles. And they're saying it's going to take about 62 hours and 11 minutes to get there. And then our largest travel day, and that's by time in the RV, is going to be our day from Austin to Amarillo. But what's cool here is you can see each day we have total distance in miles. But if you double click on one of those, it actually creates a drop down where now we have even more information. So this is day one. We're leaving Boston. We're heading to Washington, D.C. It's going to be 422 miles, which would equate to 461 minutes. We have, and then this was using Google's API. We were able to import Google's Maps, which is not stock in Splunk, to show traffic and get directions. We're showing our weather in both Boston and in DC. And then based on the estimated time we are going to arrive in DC, what the weather forecast is going to be.
Oh man, that is really cool. I like that.
Yeah. One thing we're also going to be adding to this dashboard over the next couple of days is who we're going to be talking to in DC and a link that's clickable for you to go to our live stream or to our podcast.
That's awesome. And so this is where I think when I was talking to Cory, so the streaming, the portion, you can actually look at this app, and this is going to be running in the Splunk cloud.
Yeah, so this is so we talked about the universal forwarders sending data to our Splunk instance in the RV. We actually turned that into a heavy forwarder, which is now collecting all the data and sending that data or replicating that data to a cloud instance. So our on-prem instance is for people that want to view the dashboard in real time in the RV or for us to make updates. But then for anyone who wants to view the dashboard at any time, they can access our cloud instance, splunk.bigdatabeard.com, port 8000, and we will be providing a username and password for everyone to get a read-only access.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's our journey. Now, the next one, and if you're familiar with Splunk, one of their most popular stories is around the Dubai airport. And Dubai airport, for those of you who don't know, gets about 95 million people per year. And they're the largest airport in the world. And they have decided to Splunk most, if not all, of their processes in the airport. So things like security, baggage control, and the baggage processes, making sure that there aren't any rogue Wi-Fi networks that could create fraudulent activity. All those things are Splunking. But my favorite part of this is they decided to Splunk one of their bathrooms. And it's turned into the story called the golden bathroom, where every time someone flushes the toilet, every time someone uses a certain stall, every time someone washes their hands, data is generated and collected in Splunk. And in real time, people in the Dubai Airport Operations Center know when a certain stall needs to be cleaned or when to allocate resources to ensure that bathroom's always clean. So it's called the golden bathroom. So we decided, well, if 3 engineers are going to be in an RV for 14 days, we need Splunk to help us make sure we keep that bathroom clean. And so we have developed the bronze bathroom and creating sensors. And really right now, these are button sensors where every time we do an action in the bathroom, whether it's going to the bathroom, whether it's washing our hands, whether it's cleaning the bathroom or dumping the tanks, we then are able to collect that data. So now we're able to show how many times the bathroom is being used, and we're able to set thresholds. So right now the bathroom has been used 4 times, which is fine. That's still in the tolerance of it being clean. But let's say we start using the bathroom, we just used the bathroom 4 more times. Now we're getting to the point where we need to start thinking who is going to clean the bathroom or when we're going to clean the bathroom. And then what we've done is if you start setting the threshold even more and we get to 9 and then 10, now we're at critical. And we've actually created an alert in Splunk that will email us whenever we need to clean the bathroom.
So is this something that you just manually push in here from the dashboard, or is it actually an edge device that's in the bathroom that you're clicking?
So it's an edge device that's in the bathroom that has buttons attached to it. So we just press the buttons as we leave the bathroom that will generate the data.
Is that what does that edge device look like? Is that Raspberry Pi, or is it something? Did you guys build something yourself, or is it something that's out there?
Yeah, so right now we did all development with Raspberry Pis, but it's actually going to be a Dell Gateway that allows for GPIO pins to be used. So the
Cool.
Dell Gateway 3001 model. And then, so now we have alerts. So whenever the bathroom needs to be cleaned, both Cory, Kyle, and I will get an email saying someone needs to clean the bathroom and recommend who should be the one cleaning it. And we're working with VictorOps, which is a company Splunk bought a little over a year ago that helps really take the alerts that Splunk generates and does so well and turns that into actions and gets the right alert to the right person. We're using VictorOps to determine who should clean the bathroom.
Awesome.
Yeah, so the next thing we want to do is who's washing their hands and who's not washing their hands. And so we've created another alert that when bathroom uses exceeds hands washed, we all get an email saying that somebody didn't wash their hands. Now you can see on the dashboard today that bathroom uses far exceeds hands washed. That's not because we're dirty people, it's because we're still testing this out and we haven't erased the data yet. But come October 7th, hopefully we never see bathroom uses exceeds hands washed.
Well, and as audience members, we can always tune in to help keep track of that too.
Yes, and keep us honest. Go to Twitter at bigdatabeard.com, and if you see that, let us know so that way we're held accountable for bathroom hygiene.
Perfect.
So we're also doing things. How many times have we cleaned the bathroom on the trip? When did we last clean the bathroom? When did we dump the tank? And then the location of where we dumped the tank. So all of this, again, we're getting to the point where we're not just showing descriptive things, we're correlating different actions to help us take action or make a recommendation. So it's getting into that diagnostic area where that Splunk does so well. So then moving on, our next tab is all about RV comfort. We want to show things like road quality and how bumpy the ride is, and then also get more into detail around temperature. So what we're going to show using vibration sensors is what the worst road in America is. And right now it's my road. And then where that is. And we're also going to show which states have the worst roads. And there's a really interesting thing. And have you heard of something called what 3 words before?
No. Tell me more.
What 3 words, if you take the globe and break it up into 3 meter by 3 meter squares, you have enough 3-word combinations to label all of those squares uniquely. So what we're able to do is show where we are in time, what that 3-word combination is. So for mine, right now it's dose, rats, spine. And then for the right now we have a duplication in longitude and latitude, chin, ment, and line are the other ones. But we actually did some searches and we were able to find where road, trip, and beard was, or beard, big, and data, like some of those combinations are big data beard and where those are. Unfortunately, big data beard is in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And unless we really want to swim a couple 100 miles, I don't think we're going to get there.
Well, who knows? I mean, is there a European Splunk conference? I mean, you could have an IoT boat and take that.
The IoT cruise ship.
Yeah,
there is not a European one. Then we have, we get a little bit more detail on the temperature. So our high, our low, our average. I kind of just show where in the RV. So right now it's fairly consistent, but our premise is that sometimes, like maybe the back of the RV will be colder or warmer than the front of the RV. And then we're showing our RV vibrations as well, just to show how smooth the ride was.
Yeah, so that'd be interesting. I mean, when we talk about the temperature and everything, like as you go through different areas of the U.S., how the heat changes and how hard it is to keep the back of the bus cool or something like that.
Exactly. So then moving on, we have health, and we broke this down into 2 different aspects. So the first one is our individual health. And again, using the data from the Post Health TA and app, we were able to create, so you have a drop down by name, and that will create your current heart rate, which I don't have my Apple Watch on right now, so I'm not dead. It's just 0 because I don't have my watch on. What my minimum heart rate was today, 54, my max, 92. Heart rate over time versus the average. So you can see it's been fairly static, and then it's jumped up a little bit in the evening, about 2 hours ago. The total steps, and I haven't done a great job getting my steps in today, so I'm amber on that. how many active calories I've burned, total minutes of exercise, and then total minutes of move. And we can show the progression of steps over time. So each one of us will have a drop down for that. But then we also are very competitive, and we want to show.
Hold on, I do want to dial in. That is a really good minimum heart rate there. So that is it's pretty awesome, man. That's good job.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm really glad because I did not check this before this recording that it was. I'm really happy that it's 54.
No, I cannot wait to dive in and look at the other team members.
Yeah. And then we have our group health, which again, we are very competitive. So we want to show who has the most steps, who's working out the most, who has the most active calories burned. Right now, again, this is only my data, but I did some testing with my other phone. And we were able to, again, this is how it would look. It would just be Cory and Kyle, not two Bretts.
Yep. That's awesome. And so this, once again, just to kind of dial in on this point, this is the Post Health app that gives you a lot of this functionality. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's a great app, and definitely check it out and play with it in your own Splunk instance, so you can see how healthy you are, and maybe you can find some ways to sustain or improve. So our next thing here is music. With 62 hours on the road, we're going to be listening to a lot of music. So we actually decided to Splunk our Spotify. Now, this was not something that has ever been done before. So we actually wrote an add-on and an app that will be in Splunk based and released during our road trip for you to Splunk your own Spotify accounts. All you need to do is create a developer token and add that to the add-on, and you will be able to see all this yourself. So what we have here is what we're currently playing. So Wagon Wheel by Darius Rucker, the Spotify popularity, and the album image. We have a nice little word cloud here with our most played songs. And the cool thing is, if you click on one of these, it actually goes into another dashboard that gives specific song info. So the length of the song, the tempo, the loudness, the track features. So there's things like danceability, acoustics, energy, instrumentals, liveliness, speechliness, and I don't even know what this last one is, balance. So all these are data points that we were able to bring through the Spotify development API that we're able to now show. We show some audio analysis and then the loudness over time. And we're correlating that against some sound sensors in our edge devices as well.
That is some really cool stuff there, man.
Yeah, and again, Tom West from Converging Data was instrumental in helping us get all this together, and he and I are actually going to be publishing the add-on and app together. Then we have our 10 previously played songs and our favorite album. Now, just a little bit of background. Justin Bieber was put on one of our playlists by Cory, and I accidentally played one of the songs when I was testing it, left the phone on for the entire night, and that's why we have 93 counts of using Justin Bieber.
So this is a Cory Minton request, actually, and he's trying to blame you. Is that what we're going?
Inside joke that went wrong.
Okay.
So, and what we want to be able to do is we want you to suggest songs that we play and then follow the app to see if we actually played them. So you can actually come in and see, okay, well, what have you already listened to lately? Maybe there's something that you should play. So a couple of different options to, again, be interactive and to chat with us while we're on our road trip. Again, 8 hours on average a day of driving. We're going to get sick of each other very quick. Please keep us company. Please check in with us. We also showed the breakdown of genre. So what are we listening to right now? We're a country RV, but maybe that might change. And you can see the different genres of music that are in Spotify. And then we also have a tab that shows our playlist. So we have some specific playlists that we are listening to, and you can actually follow along. So right now our current playlist is Brett's Bangers. You can see this picture of me. That's the playlist art. How many followers? No one's following the playlist. So you can go ahead and follow it and get you to be a part of this panel. We have the list of different playlists that we've created, and then the songs. So the songs by playlist, how many playlists are we actually, like, where's the average, or where's the weighting between which playlists are we listening to? Is Cory picking the playlist or using his playlist, or am I being able to use mine, or is Kyle using his? So then we also like to play a little bit of Xbox, and our game of choice is Forza. So again, this was an app that we got from Splunk Base. Someone had already created this, and we leveraged the data behind it to show in real time what we're doing with Forza. So right now I'm not playing it, so you can't see anything, but things like steering, our gear, our speed, our wheel temperature and differentials, all these are there. And I'll show you what this looks like, because you can go to previous sessions and you can actually show which sessions you've played in the past. I'm hoping it might be too far out of the wheel. There we go. So we can show what session we played. And you're getting a little behind the scenes here. And so this is me driving a Dodge Charger a couple weeks ago, and you can see how all over the road I was by steering, where I was in gear, the speed. I think my top speed was around probably about 120. This is our RPMs, so about 13,000 RPMs, 1,300 RPMs, and then you can see the different temperatures from temperatures, the peak wheel slippage, and suspension. And then this is cool. If you've ever played Forza before, this is actually representing the trail that I drove along. So this is the
cool
starting point and the end point. But you can see, and you can actually marry this to the map if you press pause and take a screenshot of it, and it would look very similar to this. So this was very easy to do. We downloaded the app. We pretty much, and to put this in our own set of dashboards in our Roadtrip to Conf app, all we did was we went and we copied the source code from the actual Forza app into this one, and we were able to get it up and running right away. And then lastly, we wanted to show usage. How many people are viewing our dashboards? How many people are interacting with us? And where in the world are they? So we have how many app views have we had in the last 24 hours? How many unique views? So you can see we have someone in Kansas, myself in Boston, Tom West in London, and Kyle did not look at it today. We have some views here, and then we have the breakdown by country, who is viewing what. And it's cool if what we're able to do is, instead of having the time picker be in each panel, we went into the panel and we changed it to a shared time picker, which is in our field 1. And now you can actually dictate the time for all these panels without having to change the searches per panel. So if we go back to all time, you can see that we've had 4 digits. So 22, almost 2,300 people, 45 different unique IP addresses in 3 countries view the dashboards.
Pretty cool, man. Be
And
excited
this is
to
cool
see.
from a security standpoint, because if we start seeing maybe some people looking at it in certain areas, or if we start seeing password fails, because again, we're letting people get into the system, we can actually get that and take corrective action to ensure the security of our app.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. I really like this.
So this is the set of dashboards. I think this is going to be a work in progress, though. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. I think that we want to create new use cases, build out new data sources, and add new panels and even maybe new dashboards along the way. So my ask is, if you're interested in this, work with us, reach out to us, suggest new things, and give us time on our road trip to actually implement that and build it out. We want our dashboard to be better every single day, and your help is greatly appreciated.
Yeah, no, thanks for taking the time, and we'll make sure in the show notes and everything that we're, publishing a lot of these, and, we'll check in with you guys as you're going on that trip. And I encourage everybody to reach out, follow Big Data Beard on Twitter, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast, and then make sure you find Brett on Twitter as well. So we'll make sure that we follow it here on Big Data Big Questions, and I'm hoping everybody else is following too.
Yeah, follow Big Data at Big Data Brett, so you can get my inside look into what my pet peeves really are with Cory and Kyle after day 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. So thanks again for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. See ya.